Hello and welcome to Martini's Eco and Country Bites. Today, as you saw, our beautiful Victorian Gippsland area and 90 Mile Beach is under threat from offshore wind. And I have a beautiful group of people joining me today from Victoria. I'd like to bring them on stage and introduce them. Welcome. I'd like to join us here today on Edge Radio Australia, Martini's Eco Bites. We have Emma and Jamie, we have Brad, Linda, and we have Roger. Linda and Roger, and Brad is coming to us on a voice system because we're having problems with his video. So that's okay. We can hear you, Brad. So we will include you from that, but we're having issues. Obviously, when we have reception areas in more remote rural areas, we understand that's how we have to roll. Welcome, everyone. How are we doing there, Emma and Jamie?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Absolute pleasure. Linda and Roger, how are we?
Very well, thank you. And thank you for having us on.
Absolute pleasure. Brad, can you hear me there? Okay, so maybe Brad will come back again soon. We're having some issues with his reception. So let's just have a little chat. And I have covered this a little bit previously. I'm going to show up the map here. And this is talking about the absolute dystopian agenda that's going on here in the Victorian oceans and on land, as we've spoken numerous times to Wade from Billboard Battalion, who's shared how much the farmers are under threat by these green renewables and being completely steamrolled. I see that the same issue is happening in your area. Perhaps Emma and Jamie, you'd like to talk first about what's going on in your area, how you became involved in pushing back against the offshore wind turbines.
Yeah, we brought back around 6 years ago and had plans to build our forever home there. And then we discovered that it had been earmarked for offshore wind. And after doing a bit of digging into it, it is not as green and friendly for the environment as what they're putting out there. So we decided to join the groups and do more research and try and get that information out there to the community and push back against it.
Emma and yourself, how has this sort of affected you with moving to this area, thinking you're going into building your dream home so close to the ocean? That's a beautiful, pristine area there. I'm going to show a photo as you can maybe have a chat to everyone, but the photos that you've sent are absolutely spectacular.
So we just absolutely fell in love with everything about the place, the ocean, the wildlife, how untouched it is. And we want to raise our kids there. And this has just put a complete damper on everything. We're not sure whether we even want to proceed with our build anymore. I just can't imagine having our ocean industrialised.
You're right. And that's why I call it very much the dystopian dream for them, because these people that seem to think that going in and putting infrastructure into an area that is so pristine and beautiful is not going to have any negative impact, especially when there's been no environmental impact assessment. Linda and Roger, maybe you could also give our viewers here a bit of an insight into how you also got involved in the area that you're living in Victoria.
Right, I've had a property in Golden Beach for 28 years now, and before that I used to come up a lot, staying at a relative's place when I was a teenager. Yeah, pretty much they've covered everything as far as the damage these things can do. It's just when you weigh out the pros and the cons, the damage they can do, it's just with marine life and the environment. I'm just not in it, and I was the one who sort of got this group going. The only reason I did is because no one else would, and I'm useless with tech and that. But anyway, now we've got over 300 people who are involved, so it's good. We're slowly growing, but I'm just hoping that they come to their senses and then all of this rubbish is stopped.
Maybe, Roger, you can put a call out to your to the wider community that people could come and join and support you from all over Australia and the world, because we are syndicated through the US and UK, New Zealand. It's being followed. What is the name of your group and how can they join?
It's No Offshore Turbines 90 Mile Beach, and it's a Facebook group. Pretty much just find us and join. Yeah, but
Beautiful.
we've also I've joined a lot of other groups worldwide as well, and I got onto the Port Stephens group and got advice from Ben about starting our group. He was very helpful, and yeah, we sort of like keep an eye on what's going on there and all other places throughout Australia. And it's a good little network system where we can share information.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for the likes of Mr. Bowen and Mr. Watts to realise that throughout Australia, we are completely united against offshore wind and the fact that communities are being steamrolled, and that's not okay. It's not okay for our culture, our economy, and certainly not the future that we want for us as Australians. Linda, yourself,
Yes.
how would you like to describe how you became involved and what your passion is that's driving you to stop offshore wind?
Well, my passion started when Roger introduced me to Golden Beach, and I absolutely love it. It's so raw, hasn't been touched. It's the place to unwind. So when we found out that they were doing offshore wind farms, we were actually devastated. So it's going to cause problems with the marine life, with our health, and I don't want that. I don't want that. If they want wind farms and offshore, they can put it in their own backyard or put it somewhere else where it's not going to kill off the marine life. So that's it hurts.
Yeah.
It's a problem. It shouldn't be there.
And how far from the ocean and the beach are you that you'll either be able to see them and feel them? That's the other thing, is the frequency and the EMF they emit is extremely high. So are they
Yeah.
close to where your home is?
Well, as far as visual, the visual's got that doesn't affect me at all. I don't really care.
No.
I'm more worried about what it actually does to the environment.
Mm.
I'd prefer them if they put them on the beach, to be honest. At least they're going to do less damage to the marine life, and if one does blow up, which they will, it's going to be a lot easier to clean up, although it's still a problem. I was suggesting to Linda earlier today, because we've got a group up there who are all for it, saying we want to embrace renewables. Well, we've got a swampland just behind our place, and it'd be interesting to know what their feelings would be if they were to put the turbines there in everyone's face. I don't think they'd still be embracing the fact that they're there. I don't know, but yeah, it's to me, it's in the ocean. It's the damage they can cause. You just can't clean it up. You can't clean the oil up. You can't get rid of all the fiberglass and all the plastics and everything that's going to end up in our oceans and cause a lot of damage to the marine life.
Mm.
So some are
Do we
just
have-
going to be 10 kilometres from the shore. And like I said, the visual aspect, while a big concern, is the least of our concerns. There are so many more worries to have in the visual aspect.
Totally.
Mm.
And not so much some of the visual, but what it is it's a guesstimation of the impact. Now, the thing is that this morning I just saw a fairly recent video from Empire Wind Installation in the US, and it was 8 miles. These fishermen were 8 miles from where the installation was, and the noise factor, 8 miles is much further away than you're going to be from your 10-kilometre installation. So I can tell you now that feeling like your house and your brain is going to be jackhammered and feeling that vibration and that noise factor straight away is going to impact not only animals in the ocean, but on land as well. Emma, would you like to discuss, you know, the biodiversity and the habitat that's going to be impacted there?
Yeah, and I've just taken some notes because there's just so many to remember. And this is just touching the surface, but I just wanted to make sure I really got some of these points out there today. So Parks Victoria have actually stated that our 90-mile coast has one of the highest species diversity levels on the planet. So 860 species were discovered within just 10 square kilometres, many crustaceans, mollusks, and tiny building worms. DECA studies have also identified 144 species relevant to the Gippsland offshore wind zone. So 51 are listed under the current state nature laws, and there was 121 listed under national laws. There's over 246 bird taxa identified, which 80 of them are actually high risk, including critically endangered migratory shorebirds. So there are 28 conservation listed shore and seabirds in and around that 90 Beach Marine National Park, including the threatened hooded plover and also the threatened white belly sea eagle. So also within the project area is a great white shark nursery, and we've also seen pregnant hammerheads. And it also provides aggregation for the juvenile great white shark. The open waters are a transient habitat for the endangered southern right whale, the Australian fur seal, and the New Zealand fur seal, which is also vulnerable. It's obviously a whale migration route, which includes the humpback and the southern right whales, who return with their calves in the spring. Also, one not commonly found, there are 5 conservation listed marine reptiles that are known to also stray in those waters. Not to mention the unique coastal vegetation, the reefs, the native flora and fauna in the area. It is so untouched. And of those 151 kilometres of beach, only 5 kilometres have an ocean ecosystem report that has been done. There is also just an abundance of native wildlife, bird life, bat life, marine life in the area, and I just feel like it really must be protected. It's also been stated that the 90-mile beach is one of Australia's most significant coastal ecosystems. Even though it's a hidden gem, does not take away from this fact that it might not be popular as some other places. And we just feel like once the damage is done, there will just be no going back. And we are also concerned about some of the reports coming out that the government want to make changes to the Environmental Protection Biodiversity Conservation Act to fast track some of these renewable projects. So that is just a real major concern for us. And like I said, that's just touching the surface.
Yeah, these changes to the EPBC is not just to fast track, it's also to remove any form of accountability. And that's where the real concern is. So basically, I've described the EPBC Act as about as good as using for toilet paper pretty soon. And it's pretty embarrassing that we used to have such a high value system towards our environment, certainly habitat protection and biodiversity protection, because we're looking after vital habitats. As it's a biodiversity hotspot, and hearing all of these statistics, Emma, this is heartbreaking, soul destroying, and shocking in a way that when I speak to people internationally, they cannot believe that this nation has been thrown under the bus by our own government that has sold us out to foreign corporations that want to come in here and destroy our communities, destroy our way of life, and that is also a part of completely degrading our environment. Do you have tourism that comes through there and gives it more of a platform, or is it something that it's such a beautiful sort of, not a relic exactly, but it's a step back in time to a past era of an innocence and pristine environment that we used to have, you know, years ago, you know, the 70s, the 80s, where, you know, you go for your big long drives along the coastal area and there wasn't like huge amount of residents and build up of infrastructure. This is kind of the picture you're painting me, and that's what I'd like everyone that's listening to see, that this is such a unique and rare place. Emma, this breaks my heart to see all of this, because not only is it the marine animals and some of those that are highly endangered from what you've said,
Yep.
that even if there was wind turbines that were put on land, some of those would still be at risk, because migration birds get disorientated by EMF and by the changes in atmospheric pressure. So the EMF from underwater as well as from the wind turbines is actually really, really detrimental to migratory animals. What are your major concerns that when looking at this, how are you not being heard?
Well, we're just not getting listened to. Our local council, you know, are trying to silence us. Our local coastal wards are just not, they just recently got a $4.7 million package from the government to go towards renewables. So
Who is your local council there, Emma?
I believe it's Cindy.
Wellington Shire.
Yeah, Wellington Shire, sorry, is our local council.
Okay, everyone that loves to do your emails and give them some feedback, the Wellington Shire in Victoria, perhaps you could give them some insight into how Australia's feeling about it's being degraded. Whether we're residents there or not, we still have more of a say than foreign corporations that have been allowed to come in here and degrade our environment. We're here to support each other as Aussies and as people that want to sustain a certain value system in our culture and make sure that we are here to protect it for generations to come. Emma, look, I would like to just touch on all of you. This is feedback I'd like to get, is how was the consultation process prior to, from the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water, from Mr. Bowen and Mr. Well, it was Tanya Plebiscite back then. How was it that they reached out to communities and asked for your feedback and what your concerns were? Perhaps we can get Linda and Roger to give your feedback on that at the moment. How did that roll out?
Well, there wasn't really that much consultation. All it was just the wind farm companies coming in and talking nonsense, really. We went there with a page full of questions and they couldn't answer any of them. A lot of them they were going to get back to us and didn't. Some of the answers they did give us were ridiculous. But I think it's just all just trying to pull the wool out over our eyes. That's what it seems like.
I don't know whether you guys can hear me, but it's Brad here.
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah, Chris Bowen actually came down to Sea Spray back in, I think it was either early 2023, February 2023. So, a bit over 2.5 years ago. Came down stealth, didn't let any of the community know whatsoever. Came down in all the com cars. People were walking around town and wondering where all these traffic-driven limos were. My father actually went and spoke to one of the limo drivers to find out what was going on, and that's when he found out that, Chris Bowen and Tanya Plebiscite and their cronies were at the surf club, standing on our ramp at the surf club with the ocean in the background, telling us how great wind farms were going to be for us all. And then as soon as they finished their little interview, they were back in their cars and straight out of town again. No one had any iota whatsoever that they were going to be there.
So Mr. Bowen never put out an invitation, or Tanya Plebiscite, to the communities, to even your local councils, so that they could advise their communities, that's what their role is, that they should be representing the communities and certainly communicating to them when you have individuals like Mr. Bowen and Tanya Plebiscite visiting. How is it that this is allowed to continue and so little accountability? Are you in the Wellington Council or Shire there, Brad, or are you in a different Shire?
No, same Shire, Wellington Shire. Yeah.
Right.
So far invested into wind turbines and green energy. They've gone full Marxist, full. They're basically another aligned with the Victorian government. There's no difference between the two of them now, as I can see. And even with our local elections just recently, new people came in and they've still got the same agenda. It's it's a bit disappointing. and then to have them to come down and take our advertising down, and yeah, it's a bit disheartening.
Wow. What happened with your advertising? So obviously you're trying to bring awareness as a community to what's happening to your area. What happened there, Brad?
Well, we put advertising up a month ago. Roger got some core flutes printed up, and he gave me a handful of them, so I went and put them in there. We actually had a little incident with Dika about a month ago, where I put one of the signs up on an access ramp that goes to the beach. It's disabled access. It's a big ramp that access to the beach, and it's up fairly high, so it's a good viewpoint, and it's at an intersection, so people can see it when they're turning left or right. And yeah, got a phone call saying that Dika are going to remove the signs and destroy them because they're on their property. And so
Whose
I went
property?
and removed them. And, Dika's property. Apparently the ramp's Dika's property. All the foreshore along here is owned by Dika.
Who is Dika? Could you explain that to us?
Climate change. Sorry?
So that's the DCCEEW you're talking about?
Dika, yeah, the Department of Energy Climate Change Agency. They used to be called they used to be Department of Water and Lands. It's just the Department of ever-changing names.
In Victoria.
Yeah, they change their name every couple of years, and this time they put climate change as their big symbol in their name. So anyone that was opposing offshore wind, I suppose, isn't allowed to have a comment on their property. And there was a couple others put on the foreshore, which the foreshore area, which used to be the old caravan park in Sea Spray, is owned by Dika as well. It used to be owned by Delp and whatever they were in the past. That was a bit disappointing that they were. So we actually made a phone call to the department to find out who gave authorisation to have them removed. Couldn't find anyone who had given authorisation. And then at the end of the phone call, we got handballed through many departments. They actually handballed us over to VicGrid. VicGrid and Dika are now fully officiated. If you look at their letterheads, they've got both departments in one letterhead. So that was another thing that that's a bit strange. So we're basically fighting, and they're all arms of the Victorian government, Labor government. So yeah. And then with this last incident, which was only on Monday with Wellington Shire, they just decided to, I don't know whether they had a complaint from the community, because we've got another group in the community who is advocating for wind farms, but just not one group in front of our beach. So that's a bit concerning as well, because we've got they're actually pro renewables. So whether we had a complaint, but I had an interesting phone call from a gentleman who's actually part of that group, and he actually told me, because he knows all the local council lawns and whatnot, and the area that one of the signs was taken down, and I've got video proof of it. One of the members of the community took photos because they thought it wasn't right as well. They were taking our signs down. I put 3 up. And they're not on, I don't know where council's jurisdiction starts, but I don't know what legal authority they've got to remove them either.
No. This is the concern, is this overreach of power and this steamrolling that's happening from the top down, and the council's following through and not allowing the community to have a voice. Pretty disgusting that the Wellington Council, the Shire of Wellington, there in that area is conducting itself that way. The fact that they're trying to silence you and not allow you to have any impact or any voice to share information and concerns, that's dictatorship. We keep saying this, Victoria has not got a great reputation as it is. Are you still there, Brad?
Yeah, I'm still there. Sorry, just you'll think you cut out a bit. I just had to move for a second. So that was, like I said, the information I received was, I think it's fairly credible that one of the signs was taken down on Vic Road's property, because the road mainly comes in the Sea Spray, the Vic Roads. Wellington Shire don't maintain it. So I don't know whether that's any avenue to go down, but I don't know whether we want to start a fight with Wellington Shire or not. That's the other issue too. We just keep going about our business, and it's just probably puts more ammunition in the bow, so to speak, if they keep being that way, that militant. We had a fairly good response with the what I posted on our page the other day, that what they had done. People were pretty up in arms, and it's just disheartening to think that your local shire, that the people that you pay exorbitant amount of rates to, don't want to listen to your voice.
Yeah, actually, it's an absolute disgrace. And the thing is that by signing up to net zero emissions pushed by the World Economic Forum and this climate change agenda that puts that above everything else, all it's going to do is put your rates up, because unfortunately what it is that their purchase agreements for energy will be such that it's going to put the energy up of everything that they do in the shire or the council. They're going to be taxed as such for everything that they do, and that'll have to be passed on to the ratepayers and residents there. So we know that that's how it works, that in these areas. I feel for people in rural regional communities like yourself, because if you can imagine how much more impact you're going to be having, because there are such a limited number of people that to distribute that debt across to, right? So this is the concern, is that, you know, this is going to have a massive impact on smaller communities, because the debt or the incursion of having tax credits versus tax debt for having an impact on carbon emissions. That's crazy. And having to buy higher priced green energy, which is not coming from green energy most of the time, is also tagged along. So Mark Watson, who I spoke to from the council in New South Wales, he had said that it's going to cost $500,000 at this point, that will per year be passed on to ratepayers just to keep going with net zero emissions, which if you look at the rates going up, I mean, that's insane. Okay, I think that we're starting to get a really clear picture that your voices are being silenced, and it's horrifying. And it's something that we're hearing all across Australia. From what I'm hearing in a lot of the regional areas, they're starting to push back against the onshore wind turbines. Have you guys had any success of getting support from farmers that are pushing back against these green renewables in regional areas there in Victoria? Have you had many people come to you and say, yeah, we know where you're at, slightly different issues that are going on, but across the board it's the same? Have you guys had anyone contact you via that?
We've actually had some local residents that own farmland where the transmission lines are going to be going through their property for the offshore wind. So we actually have local farmers supporting us as well.
Yeah.
If you want to touch on some more, Roger.
No, I was just going to say, you see a lot of signs up on people's properties saying no transmission lines. So there's obviously other small groups out there, but it would be good to affiliate with them. And
Totally.
whether, I don't know, I don't think there's any Facebook pages involved, but if there are,
I do know some people that may be connected to those. So what I'll do is I'll follow up with that a bit later on and put you in contact with them. They would probably know who they were.
I think another group's just posted. Oh, sorry, just another group's just posted all the grassroots groups that have been formed around Australia, actually, and they're 100. So I think if we can all start supporting each other, that would be fantastic. But it is getting out there.
Absolutely, I agree. I think more concerning than anything is that there's been 11 feasibility licenses handed out, and the only consultation that's had is by proponents that have given you the spin. Yeah. I saw that they were consulting again. It was in July, is that correct? In the areas there in Victoria?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think they
just did have some more meetings, but they're also doing it at some funny times. Like there's a lot of landowners and holiday makers that are based in Melbourne, and they're doing these meetings at like a 4 till 6 on a Wednesday afternoon, you know, during non-peak times. So you're really not allowing everyone to come in and have their voice. You know, they've got to think of the whole community. And also
there needs to be more than one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they do them at that time. So no one rocks up. There's no one there. There's no support. So Roger and I did go a couple of times during the week, which I did take off work, and there wasn't many of them there at all.
Oh.
Was it? No, we came in our t-shirts and no.
That's when we met.
Yes, correct.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So they
You
do.
know, I went to the first consultation they had at Seaspray, which was even months before that, probably 6 months before that, guys, and it was between 1 and 3 or something, 1 and 4. It was even more obscure time, and I think there was 4 of us that turned up to have our objections, and that was it. So at least, yeah, we've had a few more attendees over the past couple, but yeah, it's exactly why they do it. And they can go back and say, we've had consultation and the community wasn't that concerned, so yeah, we'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they
Have you
do
had
it too,
much?
when
Sorry.
they do these things too, it's not like you've got one person up on stage addressing the audience. They've just got a couple of people from each turbine company just sort of answering questions. And like I said before, they can't answer any questions. So, and it doesn't give you a chance to really question them transparently so other people can hear what you've got to talk about. And I think that's their plan. So
Like a one-on-one.
it's all hidden.
Yeah. Remember the
So
time?
the thing is that
sorry,
if you
Martina.
can't decipher, if you can't get a straight answer about one thing, you can't formulate another question that connects to other issues that you have concerns about. So this is the exact same thing that happened in Western Australia in the Bustleton consultation processes, and the ones that happened in Mandurah and Bunbury and Harvey. All the same. No one could answer a straight question. They didn't even know what endemic species were even found in the ocean at that time. They probably still don't. What parliamentary members or members of the Senate, etc., have been in support of you guys that you've heard from or you've interacted with? Have you got anyone that's batting for you in Parliament at all?
Not one.
Negative.
No.
Not one. And we have tried to reach out multiple times and we don't even get a response.
Well, what I can tell you...
Statement that he's actually in favour of renewable energy zone in Gippsland. He's actually spruiking it from the hill. So,
and what's his name?
Danny O'Brien. He's actually now the national leader for Victoria. He's just been appointed the new Nationals leader 6 months ago or so. I actually spoke to him at that wind energy farm conference that when I met Roger and Linda. He turned up and and that's when I got my first T-shirt off the guys, and I went and approached him and asked him, and he was like, didn't really say much. He said, "Oh, it looks like you're not in favour of them because we were wearing T-shirts," and I said, "No, of course we're not." There was, told him what I thought of them, and then he went off and sidled up and rubbed shoulders with all the wind farm companies, the local climate change network, Gippsland Climate Change Network, and was shaking hands with everyone. Knew everyone in that department, but didn't want to bother to consult with us. So you had concerns.
I popped
So
into
Mr. O'Brien, sorry, can we just go back to that? Mr. O'Brien, what was his first name again?
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
And he's with what party? Did you say the
2
National?
years ago, promoting the Gippsland Renewable Zone and how it's going to be great for us all and all the rest of it. And he's copped a bit of feedback from it, but I think he's still that way inclined. But now he's the leader of the Nationals, and hopefully he'll get some pushback or from Barnaby or Matt Canavan or someone, might take him on the shoulder and say, hey, but at this stage, it's not looking good for us. And Darren Chester, our federal minister, he's pretty much in the same league as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I'm pretty disgusted to hear that he's from the Nationals. The fact that he's out there spruiking and knowing that it's going to have a terrible impact on local communities and businesses. Let's talk about that. Would someone like to talk about the impact on local businesses and some of the farmland that you've either know of or heard about?
As far as businesses, I think the main business at Golden Beach would be like Emma was talking about with our little community with the shops with tourists. Look, there's not going to be any work for the locals if these things kick off. So, but it still will. You know, if they do have to close the beach down the track, there's going to be a big impact on them. And I'm sure you'll probably have people even selling up, getting out of the joint because it's not.
Tourism
Which is what they want.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's like
And
$2.5 billion industry for
We've got
Gippsland.
one general store, just like Golden Beach. We've got the local Surf Lifesaving Club, so I'm not sure what Surf Lifesaving Australia's angle is on this, whether they are going to follow the agenda set by the government or whether they've got their own ideas. That's something maybe to look into. And we've got the local caravan park, which, you know, when it's busy, it's really busy. We can probably hold a couple of thousand people plus. But that's all we've got down here. So, yeah, it'd be interesting what sort of support we can garner out of the caravan park over the coming holiday period.
Yeah.
Which is why I put my signs everywhere so that the people driving into town could actually see them and hopefully get on board. But
Good on you, Brad.
Stop to that.
Don't stop that. Whatever you do,
But
you
there
just
is a
keep
lot
going
more
with that one.
industries. There is also a lot more industries that
One
it
of them is up
stands
6
out
metres
to.
tall. Like,
Sorry, Roger,
we're
what were you
hoping-
saying there?
We're hoping this summer, we're hoping to ramp things up a bit, just amongst our group, because a lot of people in our group, we don't get a chance to sort of reach out or actually meet. So we're hoping to catch up with maybe, you know, meet and greet type thing. I've got a heap of T-shirts that people are interested in. So we can sort of do a catch up and give them some core flutes and some T-shirts and get a bit of conversation happening there, which might help.
we're hoping to get some
Yeah.
flyers. Flyers, I think, will make it easy, so we can just hand them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with that Darren Chester too, I popped into his office a few months back and introduced myself. He wasn't there, but I was talking to one of the guys behind the counter, and I sort of offered him a couple of our core flutes just in case, sort of thing. And he was hesitant to take them. He didn't take them, but he did take my phone number, and I haven't heard anything from them at all. But anyway, see what happens.
Just going back to the business sides, businesses and stuff that will be impacted. Gippsland's a $2.5 billion tourism industry, which is nothing to be laughed at, like, and that is a lot to do with like bird watching, the whale watching, and all that sort of thing along the coastline too. Fishing is a massive part of it as well. So while there aren't direct businesses in that area, it spans out all through Gippsland and even to like Sale. They sell a lot of fishing supplies and stuff there, camping supplies. And I'm pretty sure a lot of these people that come here for the ecotourism probably don't want to be going to look at industrialised wind turbines. So,
Or seeing whale carcasses washing up on the beaches. That's probably not something they're wanting their kids to see.
We've got a very good vantage point for the Aurora here, for the Aurora Australis, and that's becoming very popular. There's like tourism groups that come down here when the Aurora's at its most active. So, yeah, there'll be no Aurora views at the night time with the vista with red lights. So that's something to...
There's even astronomy tours that go ahead here because, you know, long strips don't even have power lines. So even that light pollution as well, people come down here for, the astronomy tours and everything.
Astronomy, Aurora, and then you've got this beautiful bioluminescent algae that you have along there that creates the beautiful bioluminescent tide. We know that algae is destroyed by bleach in the water directly from wind turbines, because not only is the water super hot from having to cool the wind turbines, but it's bleached so that it gets rid of all the barnacles and debris, and algae that doesn't actually build up inside the turbines. So what we know is that already we
substations in their cooling system as well.
Yep. So the substations are enormous for that. The amount that they are pumping out per day is huge, and the fact that you have 11 feasibility licenses out for that area that if you do the math on how many substations are going to be required for all of those 11 individual projects, that's really disturbing numbers, that you're going to have that much impact that's going to be happening. And of course, really close to shore.
And I went to the Star of the South function the other week, which was done properly. They actually gave a presentation and we could ask questions later or during the presentation, which is what Roger was talking about before. They'd never done a presentation like that before. And they were saying that, where was I going with it? They were saying that they're going to need 5 substations for their 2.1 gigawatt.
That's just one. So 5 substations for their project.
I've got the figures. They actually suck up 31,200,000 litres of water a day, equivalent to 12 Olympic swimming pools per substation. And the superheats the water as well as the bleach and the chlorine. It superheats the water, and the water comes out at a minimum of 32 degrees Celsius in an area that in peak summer our water temperature might get to 23. So it's 10 degrees above our warmest period in summer. So, yeah, what's that going to do to the ecosystem?
Everything. People don't, people just think, oh, well, nature adapts. No, it doesn't. It doesn't adapt. What we have is a cascade effect. So these are all compounded issues that we're already seeing overseas, especially in the US East coastline, where fisheries are starting to collapse. We've already got massive issues going on in South Australia that's all starting to point towards desalination. So we're getting the same kind of issues that are happening there, and we know that this is already the problem. This is where I believe that not only Mr. Bowen is fully accountable, but so is Mr. Watts, who is now the new Environment Minister. To have this being allowed in this environment is direct violations of protection of all of these species here. So if you've got 5 substations for each project and you've got 11, do your math on that. That is enormous numbers. And if people don't know what that's going to look like, it's going to look like oil rigs the whole way along your coastline there. That is going to absolutely destroy what you call the blue zone, which is the calm zone that calms the nervous system. There's lots of data and statistics on that. And that's why blokes love fishing, because when they go down there and they're just in the blue zone and they can fish, they feel calm. And I say this all the time, that of all the people that should be pushing back at this are people that love the ocean for its intrinsic healing values. And that exists because there is balance in nature. Period. And if we start messing with that and putting infrastructure in places that we don't even know what the long-term impact is going to be, then that is truly disturbing. Emma, you sent me something here that I would like to just chat about. You've mentioned something here about a marine park, which is very close to where the on-land transmission underwater high voltage cables come onto the land. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'll take that. There's a gap in the transmission lines area where they want to bring the power ashore, and that gap's basically where that marine park is. But that marine park is going to be completely useless when it's surrounded by all the stuff that they're putting in there, the underwater cables, the EMFs kicking out of them, obviously the water that we're just talking about being hotter, and it's quite a biodiverse little area for 5 kilometres. I think it's a 25 square kilometre area. There have been huge numbers of different species found there.
That's really disturbing that they're actually, so at this point what you're saying is those lines that are coming back onto land via the substations are going to go through this marine park area or adjacent to it.
Yeah, they'll be basically surrounding the marine park. They won't go in it,
Wow.
being that it is a marine park, but they'll go right on the borders of it, I imagine, and they'll push that line.
Wow.
So the marine park's been there for 25 years. We haven't been allowed to fish there for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And if you happen to get caught fishing there, well, then what happens? You lose your boat, your
everything,
your rods and everything. So it's been there. Yeah, I don't know why it was put there to begin with, but It's been there for 25 years, and now they're going to run these cables directly past it or through it, or and I don't know. There's a couple of spots on that map where looks like there's going to be no lines. But I don't know whether that's got something to do with Aboriginal heritage or cultural heritage, or because it's or whether it's just because of Jack Smith's lake down there's just a swamp and they won't go through the swamp. But yeah, so they're all meeting up at Gifford. That's a lot of cables going through.
Yeah, there is. That was an image there, Brad, that I've just shown of a wreck along the beach line there, which I guess, is that heritage listed as well or not?
No, I don't think so. Actually,
Don't think it is, but it's definitely
we have got a heritage listed wetland here somewhere, but I'm not actually 100% sure where it is.
Wow. Painting the picture on this, guys, we know that you're hard up against it, but we are here to support you the whole way. All I can say is thank you so much on behalf of everyone in Australia that you are up against it with 11 different proponents here that are just wanting to destroy your backyards, your environment, the area that you call home, and the place that's sacred to you. Thank you for joining me today on Edge Radio Australia and Martini's Eco and Country Bites. Please reach out again in the future should you have any more things you'd like to discuss. But we wish you the best, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Martine.
much for having
Thank
us.
you.
letting us speak.
Get my technology fixed next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank you so
again.
much.
Thank you.
All the
Bye-bye.
best, and we will touch base more as things progress.
Yeah, appreciate it.